Hello, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to Talk and Tea Time with Dr. G and the Doctors. I'm so glad that you decided to tune in. As you always know, Dr. G shares one of her favorite teas. This evening, I am sipping on just a regular green tea. So I suggest if after a long day at work, just get you some green tea. It'll make you feel much better. We will be right back with our segment of Spiritually Speaking. Stay tuned.
The sooner you recognize the signs of autism, the sooner you can make a lifetime of difference for your child. Start by answering a few simple questions at screenforautism.org.
If you love them enough to relearn math so you can teach them math, then surely you'll check nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat to make sure they're correctly buckled in the back seat.
A free 3-minute online chat can give you the personalized tips you need to start boosting your retirement savings today.
Welcome back to Talk and Tea Time with Dr. G and the Doctors. This is our Spiritually Speaking segment. And so we have on with us this evening myself, Dr. G.
Have Pastor Cortez Williams.
Dr. Levon Singleton.
Pastor Ryan Young.
And Dr. Tacarol Smith.
So this evening, the doctors will be discussing with the pastors being single and saved. So, pastors, my first question, because I know that both of you all have single ministries in your church. What's the hot topic? What are singles talking about? Single being saved. What's the hot topic in the ministries?
Go ahead.
Well, since my brother passed it to me, I think probably one of the major concerns for our singles, and just singles in general, is learning how to be patient until the right person comes. And after that patience has kind of settled in, what is it that I should be looking for to find a mate that is suitable for me? And after they kind of go through that checklist, it's kind of one of those things of, okay, now is God telling me to do this, or is he not? Is this the right move? And so I think, it's just kind of clearing up any confusion or cloudiness with singles on how to choose and how to date, because most singles have probably already been through a certain amount of Rolodex of people, especially after a certain age, if we were to be frank about it, and they're tired of going through the status quo of being hurt, finding somebody new and starting over. And so one of those things is, how do we address those critical concerns with some of the singles in our congregation?
Okay.
And just to piggyback off of Pastor Young is that as a single person, I know that a lot of distractions, to avoid those distractions that, getting you off the base with your relationship with Christ and trying to stay on focus with your relationship with Christ. And I always tell a lot of singles in our single ministry that, those that are single should have a closer relationship with God, and those distractions that try to come in and veer you off of your relationship with Christ, those things that you have to have that spirit of discernment. Have that spirit of discernment to know when to not to be able to fall into those areas where will cause you to lose your relationship or cause you to fall out of your relationship with Christ. And so that's what we mostly try to encourage most of the singles, that as a single person in God, you should get closer to God. Those relationships, because you'd have been through that revolving door, you have experienced those things, and also you have tried this and that, and so your relationship with Christ should be very close as a single person, during these times that you are living in right now.
Right. So how do you all address the fact that, okay, I'm single, I'm dating, but my flesh, because that flesh is something else.
Well,
how do we deal with that old flesh? It creeps up on us.
Get you in trouble?
Yes, sir.
No. Yes, it will. Now, and just to be transparent, that's the thing about it, that we have to understand that the flesh don't never want to do right. The flesh always want to do what it want on its own. It want to always want to sin. It want to always attract. It want to always cause distractions. That's what the flesh does. And one thing I tell a single person is, don't focus on your flesh. Focus on your faith in God. That's the main thing, because the flesh always going to want to sin, no matter what. We live in this type of world that, they call it the normacy. I can't control myself and my wants, my needs, but there are times in your life that you have to take control of your life, your spiritual walk with Christ, and to focus on God. Because one thing about it, every day when you wake up, that flesh want to sin. And just to be real and transparent, that's what the flesh wants to do. It wants to sin daily.
I have a question, pastors. So what about dating, right? And what about dating someone they're not at that same level you are, as far as spiritually. So, you're dating somebody, you feel that this person is the right person, but they're not spiritually there like you are. How do you, because they always say you need to be equally yoked, but then sometimes you pull a person to Christ through your actions. So do we need to be equally yoked in the very beginning? Do we need to wait for that person that's right there at our level? Or do we just say, this person loves me, they know Christ, they love God, but they're not into the Bible as deep as you are. They don't come to church every Sunday like you do. So what do we do when we're caught in those situations?
I love
a lot for that.
So really, I think every single person needs to already know in the beginning what their non-negotiables are.
Okay.
And one of those non-negotiables needs to be that whoever you're looking for in your relationship walk, there are some things that you need to be equally yoked in. Now, I'm not saying it has to be verbatim, but they do need to be. If you are at a certain level and walk, then they should be also at a certain level and walk. Because what's going to happen is you're going to allow your emotions and feelings to kick into overdrive, and then you're going to grow with them emotionally. But at some point, the spiritual essence and growth within that relationship is going to cause a conflict, because you are intentionally heading in a direction where this person is probably okay with being stagnant in. Some people are okay with just doing enough to get by. Because listen, when we look at the context of scripture with being unequally yoked, we know that there's this believer not being with the non-believer. But believers can be unequally yoked as well. That you can not be on the same page. And if you want to grow with somebody, you don't want to grow them. You want to grow with them.
Interesting.
And so when you're looking at this dynamic of, oh, but I love them and this, that, and the other, and you just said something. You said, I feel like they're the right person. Listen, every single person needs to check their, I will say this till I leave this earth. Emotions are notorious liars. Your emotions will lie to you. It will have you feeling some kind of way that is not within reason. It will have you drifting off and doing things that is not of your character. And a lot of people out of emotion will sacrifice truth because of how they feel. When the truth of the matter is, God has already given you the sign that this person is in the direction that you don't have time to waste. First of all, and then I want to hear from, because that was a loaded question.
I'm sorry.
No, but a lot of people want to know that.
Yeah,
because,
we do want to know that.
Because they get emotionally involved. But the fact of the matter is, God is the one who gives the increase in growth. Even as pastors, my job ain't to grow you. Not in that same sense. I am to provide for you the things necessary. There's a human responsibility that's involved. And so when you are with a partner, don't think, hey, if I keep going to church, then I'll take. No, because when you're single, if you say I want to be with this person, who they are is who you get. Don't go in hoping somebody go change. Don't go in hoping. Don't you invest your time, which you cannot get back, in something that's a roll of the dice. And so there are some things that are just more factual and logical and within reason. Move your emotion out of it. And if you see that y'all are on two different paths, don't you walk that path, or you will be sitting in a counseling session with him, not me, on one day of the week because your heart was broken.
All right, Pastor.
Well, like you say, to piggyback off, he said a mouthful. I mean, that was just awesome what he just said, because I just look at it when you're in a situation where you're trying to be equally yoked. Look at it as that also you started off with, when you're dating someone, you set your standards. Standards are always important. So that means that you're setting your table, you're already getting the information where you are standing at first of all, and then that gets to understanding. You're being transparent with the person that you are dating. Also, you're letting them know where you stand at as well. You know, I tell you all the time, when you set those those principles and let them know where you are walking, your actions will display where you are headed. If he can't figure that out, know where you're going, then I'm sure your discernment will click in. You know, that this might not be the person, because I am showing the actions. I'm displaying what Christ has told me to do as a person walking with God. But you have to set those standards first, and also you have to be patient. Have to be humble, as Dr. Young said.
So let me throw this in the mix, because we all have those church members who've been single all their life. Mm-hmm. They've been waiting on the Lord all their life. Okay, what's wrong with them? What's wrong with them folks? What have they missed? Because I know some 20, 30, 40-year-old singles, and I know some 50 and 60-year-old singles. They sisters still waiting on the Lord to send them somebody good. What happens in that situation?
Well, I'll say two things, Dr. Singleton.
Come on, Ryan.
Well, one is I would not say it's something wrong with them.
Okay. Right.
But I would question their ability to make good decisions.
Okay.
And you have a choice that you get to make. And that's one thing with singles I really want singles to understand, is that you have the power of choice and you don't have to compromise that. While he and I are married, what we have is what we got to grow and cultivate. But when you're single, you actually have the gift to choose, and you don't have to waste that choice and compromise. So a lot of times people have compromised choices. And it's not that they're a bad person or they mean, to have bad intentions, but sometimes they're compromising and being gullible and wanting this feeling again of not being lonely, of trying to progress in my life. I'm at a certain age. And so you lay down those things and you make bad choices and you find yourself back at square one. So choices and compromise has a lot to do. While the Lord waiting on them. They ain't waiting on the Lord. The Lord like, well, now, when you gonna make the right decision?
Yes.
Okay.
You ain't gotta pray to tie your shoe. I gave you the sense to tie it. Don't pray to me before you go running.
Right.
Lord, should I tie my shoe? Now, so when he puts certain things in front of you, he is giving you the ability to make the right choice. And that's really all dating and marriage is. Okay. Stop looking for the bluebirds and all the Hollywood Western culture to choose.
To that point, being a woman, sometimes we have to do a self-check for ourselves to say, what's broken in us that we keep either making a bad choice when we're looking for that mate, or what have we done that causes us to raise our standards or lower our standards that are not being met? Sometimes we can have our standards up too high where that good man is right in front of us, but if his nails are dirty or if his shoes are dirty, we don't want to talk to him. Superficial things. When are we going to stop being petty with ourselves, with our decisions? So sometimes being a woman, I have to do a self-check to say, are your standards on point? Are you displaying the kind of man that you want in your life? Are you being that spokesperson? Are you carrying yourself with integrity and dignity to attract that? So, maybe that's why I'm kind of in the position that I'm in.
And also to piggyback off of what Dr. Smith just said, I think a lot of times I'm getting older And every time I go to the family function, they asking me, "Oh, you by yourself again?" Or it's time for the family reunion. "Oh, you can't. Oh, you didn't bring anybody with you." Or every Sunday when you show up at church, "Oh, you here by yourself again." So I think that our minds begin to play tricks on us, like, "Oh, well, I better get somebody. I need somebody to go to the birthday dinner with me." My parents getting ready to, right. My parents getting ready to separate, celebrate their 75th wedding anniversary. I don't even have a date.
Hey,
That is sad.
Betty Wright said it. Take what I got and work with it, right?
Whoa, watch yourself.
You know what y'all just said, though? And you said it about being a woman. Those are dynamics that women generally deal with. A man ain't saying, "I better bring somebody to the family function." And so there's a dichotomy different between men and women. And so the things you all just named, brothers don't normally struggle with. Matter of fact, it's the total opposite.
Help me. I'm sorry.
Sing
to the beat.
Okay, all right,
Who you gonna bring this year to the reunion?
You know what? I'm gonna give a secret to every single sister.
Tell us.
On how to choose the right man.
It's big, y'all.
And how to keep them.
I'm listening.
If this the right one, you ready?
Go ahead.
Listen to a man.
Oh, okay. All right, so we're gonna
Now, as simple as that sound.
Yes.
listen to a man.
Don't try to make us think like you think. Don't make us. We are men. We think different. Don't listen to that man.
Okay.
His desires, his wants. He's not on the back burner. It's about mutuality. It's not about how I get to serve you, but how do we serve each other? But you got to listen to how I feel. And a lot of times, brothers will tell you that's disregarded.
Okay. Okay, so, all right, so we're going to take a break and we will be back so we can finish discussing this topic. And this is going to be part 1 because there is a lot that we need to finish discussing. So we'll be right back.
Life. You coming into our home was one of the greatest rewards we could have ever had.
You know, it took 20 years and I got my third child who was 17 at the time.
It's so cool to watch the adult that you've become, and you really have done as much for us as you think we've done for you.
Not completing high school is more of a social thing than it was an academic thing. Even though all these years have passed, I still had that longing to have my diploma. I have a mentor, and she convinced me to continue my education.
No one receives a diploma alone.
If you're even considering getting your high school diploma, go get it. You can do it.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
Welcome back to Talking Tea Time with Dr. G and the doctors. Listen, this has been heated, and here you are. We're talking about single and being saved. And myself and my co-host, we have Pastor Ron Young and Pastor John Williams. And we've just been talking about single and being saved. And the last thing that Pastor Ron said to us was to listen to a man.
It's a man's word.
I guess so. I guess you have to listen to a man. I guess so. Well, this is what I find difficult with being single and being saved, because, and I'm just gonna be transparent, when you meet someone, you know, it's real cute in the beginning, we going to the movies, we going for walks in the park, we doing all that cutesy stuff, but then we gonna have movie night at home. So I'm gonna come over, I'm gonna bring some Applebee's, and we gonna watch some Netflix, and then the hour draws late. Okay, so we sitting there on the couch, and okay, I'm thinking and he thinking, and then that old flesh creeping on in. So, what's your advice when you're in that moment, and that old flesh start to creep in, and you really want to tell him to go home, but now you really don't. You really want him to stay. So, how do we deal with that in that moment, or do we just get caught up
and ask for forgiveness
the next day? Hello.
I'm gonna let that preacher ask.
we go back to Dr. Young say he wants some water. As I look at it, you know how you you in this relationship and you see you digging this guy, you enjoying it, you looking at, and what is the perspective? What is the outcome? You know, is you looking for your husband? Is it looking for just a boyfriend? But I can see if you're looking at long term, that this is probably the one that you would like to be with, and if he respects you, those nights that flesh want to rise, and you trying to stay with God's will for your life. Hey, the standards still go back to those standards. You know, once those standards has been given, no matter what time of day it is, and you saying you telling him to leave, but you don't want him to really leave. Mm-hmm. That's when those standards. I tell people all the time, as a single person, to keep your value, to raise those values. Hey, your standards have to stand out, even on nights when you don't even want to stand. You know what I'm saying? It has to stand out, and then you don't have to compromise to be recognized. You don't have to compromise to be recognized, because if he love you on that night, he'll love you the next night. He'll love you the next night.
So, Pastor Cortez and Pastor Young, I'm sorry. So, to that point, you told us to listen to a man, right? Listen to what he's telling you. So, Pastor Cortez, if he's telling us he wants longevity, we should believe that and maybe build upon that. So when the flesh breaks down, you know, if we're on that same page that we're walking as one, then I'm not going to say it's okay, but at least we know that we're trying to become one. So when the man tells us, I really don't know what I want. I'm just here because you bought some Applebee's and, you know, it's cold outside. I just want to cuddle. We need to be mindful of that too, and where he really wants to go, and that's really nowhere but to bed.
Right.
So we need to be mindful of that, I guess, as single women, on what this man is telling us.
And that goes back to the power of choice. When he lets you know, hey, this is only how far this is going to go. It's up to you how far where it ends at, because he have been true to you that I don't really want nothing out of it. I just want to go to bed. So then the ball is in your lap. Where do I go from there? Do I go to bed, or do I stay up and watch TV, keep my standards? That's the power of choice.
Yeah, and don't ever go into that thinking you go fish hook him.
Right.
Okay.
Like, hey, well, if I give him what he wants.
Exactly.
Well, that ain't what you want.
Right.
And one of the biggest things with your scenario is that you got to know yourself before you even get to know him. So if you already know that you can get flared up.
There you go.
Why are you putting yourself in that position?
Right. Okay.
So, and that's why Scripture says, I'm paraphrasing, you know, pretty much, man, don't even put yourself around temptation. Because you can't win.
No,
you can't.
It tell you to run.
Literally, it tell you to run.
It tell you to run.
But you walking on up into it, and then like, what do I do? Well, you put your hand on the stove. Now you asking, what do you do when it get burned?
So I guess it's safe to ask that question when you meet someone. Okay, are we just hanging out? Are we just dating? Or are we dating
don't
with a...
move too fast.
I can't ask that question? Okay, I'm sorry.
Not that fast.
Well, on the third date I asked?
Let the Applebee's digest. Let the
Applebee's
go down, baby. Wait till he show up with some Longhorn.
Because for a man, he's instantly hearing pressure.
Okay.
He not hearing long-term goals. He's hearing, all right, I already know what I'm gonna have to deal with. It's gonna be your last supper.
But I told you I want to be married. I told you, Pastor Ron, I want to be married when we was on the phone talking for those 6 weeks. I told you I want a husband.
Yeah, but it's all about approach with a man.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Some stuff we just gotta be eased into. And sometimes it's not that we don't want the same thing, we just take different paths in getting there sometimes. And that's where the mutuality and compromise as the relationship grows. But you can't put it on too fast.
So Tish, we need to start telling men, we hear wedding bells, not that we want to be married, we just hear wedding bells.
Yes, at some point.
Single?
Yeah, just throw it out there. And
So, in 2 minutes, because again, viewers, this is going to be part one because we have a lot of things that we need to unpack. So, Pastor Cortez, in 2 minutes, what advice would you give to both male and female singles that's dating but wanting more than dating? I want a ring, because I want a husband.
I would say first, love God, love yourself, and then trust the process.
Okay.
Love God, love yourself, and then trust the process, and wait on God.
Okay.
That's it.
All right, Pastor Ron.
I would say that to approach your singleness with the right mindset. Singleness is a gift, it's not a curse. And you have to remember that there are so many blessed gifts that come along with being single, that we have changed the paradigm of it culturally, especially in America, that being single is some kind of burden. It's not. There's so many blessed things to come out of being single. As a matter of fact, Paul said, shoot, I wish all y'all were single like me so you could do more. That being married is the burden. And that's what he said, because now I can't just stay at the church as late as I want to. I got to go home. That's my first ministry.
What book is that? You saying in Paul?
So yeah, just you know, man, you get to go as you please, come as you please. You ain't got to buy food for nobody else unless you want. Like, we got to call and check in. We better not bring a fry home. You know, there's so many blessedness to it. So singleness is a gift and not a curse.
All right, Dr. Singleton, take us home today with the tip of the day.
Wow. We have heard so much here on this evening from these two dynamic preachers. And if we could just sum it all up, Pastor Williams said that you know, there's nothing wrong with being single. You know, Pastor Ron, being single is not a curse. Okay. So the wrapped up, the word of the day is simple. Love yourself, okay? Treat yourself well, all right? Use that as a model. If you treat yourself well, then the person that you're with or the aiming to be with will know how to treat you, okay? I tell folks all the time, I don't buy small bottles of cologne, okay? So don't you buy me a small bottle of cologne, all right?
3.4 ounces.
All right. I want the 3.4 ounce bottle. So when I go to the store, that's what I buy. So when you go to the store, that's what you buy. Treat yourself well, and everybody else, treat yourself good. That's the word of the day.
Thank you. All right, viewers. So again, this was part 1 of Spiritually Speaking with the Pastors, Single Being Saved. As always, stay safe, stay healthy, and we will see you all next time. Bye-bye.